Hi friends, this is Mark from playABLE Games doing an accessibility walkthrough and review for GhostWire Tokyo by Bethesda and Tango Gameworks to determine if it is playable for those with visual, auditory, cognitive, or physical impairment. Alright, so in starting up, we have the option to change brightness setting. Okay, so we have different color blindness types. I will go ahead and kick these up so you can see if they work for you. So if none of these color blindness settings are working for you, then as far as what you're seeing on your monitor, then maybe it's not going to help you too much. Okay, so let's bump up the brightness all the way. So this is brightness at full. So those that would need the ability to see, you can see all the details, and good. This should be helpful for you. So let's turn up the minimap size and frame. Hopefully that can make it larger. A compass will be very nice. So let's look at these. So the minimap on the bottom left barely got any larger, but that compass definitely at the top is definitely good to show me the direction of where I can go. Here's just a quick little transition back and forth between the medium and large minimap size. As a word of caution, the next 40 seconds does include some screen flashing. So this moment where the things are all glitching, there's no way to turn these off. So if flashing things on the screen are confusing or can cause epilepsy, something to keep in mind.
What is going on?
You cannot stop and turn off these particular flashing moments. Here is another example from a little bit later in the game of the flashing.
Calm down.
So, is the game visually playable? I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It does have some great features, like changing the minimap size and color blindness settings, but those size changes are minimal. And there are screen flashing moments that may make the game inaccessible to some. So within the game, it is defaulted Japanese audio. You can change that to English. This will help with those that may have like a learning disability of some kind or some sort of impairment that makes it really, really tough to keep up with reading subtitles if the game is in another language. You can actually play it in English. The only way to change this setting is from the main title screen. You cannot change this within game. So within this, there is one extra custom setting within the sound effects. So I always turn down music. I always turn down sound effects so I can hear voices. You can control the volume of the yokai, which are some spirits you interact with in the game. So as you can see, we can up the font size. There's 5 different options, and the subtitle font size, 5 different options. So let's see what that looks like in the game. So it makes the words slightly bigger, but not overly large, which could be a problem for some people that need larger subtitles. So is it auditorially playable? I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It does have some font changing capabilities, but those are minimal, and there are not many customizations to sound effects volume. So the game has 4 different difficulty settings. So things to note, the easy mode, it says, is for players who want to relax and enjoy the game's atmosphere and story. So this would be if you have some sort of physical limitation of some kind, this way you can play through the game and it will be a lot more forgiving. Normal would be kind of a mixture of having story as well as a little bit of difficulty. Hard will definitely be for those who, as it says, are confident in their abilities. And this last one, you cannot change the difficulty once you're in the game. So you start on this, it is really hard, and you are definitely going to have a challenge ahead of you. Okay, so for controls, we have sprint and crouch are defaulted to toggle, which is really, really good. And then we have controller button assignments and key assignments, which is really, really nice. So we can go through and we can sit here and we can switch and remap the whole controller to what we need, or the keyboard to what we need. This will be really, really good for those that have an accessibility controller. So I have the adaptive controller here. As you can see, jumps and does control. But as far as running it on Copilot, it doesn't work with the 2 controllers. And when I come in to remap, I cannot choose the option on the other controller for the input. So it does work with the adaptive controller, but does not work with Copilot, which I do know works on games because I've used it. So as long as you have inputs as part of the adaptive controller, it will work. Disabling the time limits. This will be really, really good for those that need to be able to get to through some sort of event and not have to worry about getting there within time. So if you have some sort of physical or mental limitation that makes it hard to do these things, this will help you immensely. So that's good. Okay, so we have camera bob strength. So this should reduce the camera shake and bob as we move around. So let's see. No bob whatsoever. Just straight movement. Let's turn that back up. And you can see that there's a little bit of bob up and down as I am running. So if you get motion sick or different things, or you don't want the camera bob, you can get rid of it. I would like to note that if you play with a PlayStation 5 DualSense controller on your computer, that the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback do work. At least for the Steam version. I cannot speak for the Epic Games version. So toggling, crouching, and running, sprint. It's just a simple toggle, so that'll be good for those so you don't have to hold it. Aiming, So you do have to hold. I do not see toggling for aiming. Yeah, so as you can see, there are moments where you have to hold, and there's no toggle or auto skip on that, or just like a single button press, so that could be a limitation for those with mental or physical impairment. So, is it physically and mentally playable? I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It does have some toggle features, but not... You can remap the controller, but it would be nice to have more toggle capabilities and for Copilot to work. So the achievements, as I'm looking through them, actually look kind of fun. You have entering photo mode is one of them for the first time, and very, very easy to get, very, very accessible. Petting an animal is a very, very fun one. So we have these different things. Some may be tough, and I imagine I haven't got to this part of really kind of grappling and gliding, but it says for at least 10 seconds. So it's got to be tough if there's an achievement for such a thing. But I also like this, spend at least 30 seconds looking at the moon. So there's lots of fun achievements within this, and I think these are probably fairly accessible. Nothing that has to do with beating the game on the hardest difficulty, which is the Atari mode. Nothing like that. So, are the achievements accessible? I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 and say they're definitely achievable. Not only are they completely reasonable and you just have to gather and complete tasks, there's no difficulty achievement preventing you from collecting them all. So friends, is GhostWire Tokyo playable? With an average score of 8 out of 10? I would say that it is. So go out and buy it, play it, and enjoy it.